doesn't get that much attention. And I think it's God, because just like gold and silver, it needs to be dug up. It needs to be planted, and you have to wait patiently for it. And this is why it is important for you to understand this, and why God put this here in John 15:16. Because anytime, someone say anytime. Anytime you are tempted or tested, all right, it will be in one of these fruit. Yeah, I just saw a jaw drop. Anytime you are tempted by the devil or by your flesh, sometimes your flesh is worse enemy than the devil. Your flesh will always tempt you, and the devil will always tempt you in one of the 9 fruit. I call them the 9 front of the Spirit. Every war has a front, more than one front. There's a financial front. For example, if someone has marriage problems, there's a relationship problem. Then there's a financial problem. Then there's a children problem. See how it escalates. The enemy doesn't let you rest. So you have, if you will step back and begin to work on your character, you will be able to see better and understand what's happening in your life, because you've decided that you're going to remain who you are. In other words, who Christ made you. Now, when you don't do it, you enter something called the works of the flesh. See, a drug addict, he got to the point that he lost his self-control. Someone who abuses somebody, self-control, patience, no love. So these things, every area, you can set down any scenario, it'll always come down to the fruit. Now, there was a time that my wife and I, we had a consultant come to the church. And the consultant recommended that we take a Harrison behavior assessment. How many of you have ever heard of that? Corporations do that before they hire an employee to make sure that they're compatible with the boss. So my wife and I took it. The great news was we found out that we were soulmates. Because anything I'm weak on, she was strong, and it really was an eye-opener. I really enjoyed that. Another sister in the church took it, and she found out that she's 92% compatible to me. That when it's ready, when we're going to forth her, we're going to put her on full time. So I know who it is. I just got to wait on God. Now, the point I'm trying to make, in that survey, there was 5 different points in my life that they call potential tornadoes, in which I can go off. Oh yeah. See, you don't know me. My first anniversary, I was in jail, assaulting a police officer. I mean, you get me just someplace. I had this anger issue inside of me, you know what I mean? And it's always the potential with the flesh. As long as you're in this, you're still going to have to deal with the flesh.
That's right.
We're called human beings because simply we're being human. Simple as that. And so I had to realize with that evaluation, I realized there's some areas that when I get pushed up against the corner, I have to be careful. How many know what I'm talking about in your life? In other words, someone said, don't go there. I think you should listen to him. Unless, of course, you're his wife. I'll go there, honey. I'll tell you, I'll go any place I want you. But that's how it escalates, you know that. So these works of the flesh are basically, when we stop walking in the Spirit, we enter the works of the flesh. I'm not going to talk about the works of the flesh. I taught on the work of the flesh at my church. It was the most quietest service I ever had in my life. But I did it. I had to do it. But what happens when you do works of the flesh, during this assessment, I realized, oh my goodness. Do you know the works of the flesh? First of all, the works of the flesh are character flaws. They're character flaws. Read them. Drunkenness, fornication, sexual immorality, all of that, rioting, all that. It's a character flaw in people. And so, listen, we don't need to have a character flaw. None of us are perfect, but God's given us something in our spirit that we can learn how to work out. I want you to know, when you're born again, you were given, I say them a little bit different, love, joy, peace, long suffering. Why? Why long suffering? Because you outlast the devil any day. Right. Love, joy, peace, long suffering, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, humility, and self-control. And so when you leave them and you work and go into the works of the flesh, you have created your alter ego. You have an alter ego. Amen. An alter ego in the Latin actually means the other eye. Do you ever see your kids act up? That's not them, right? Have you ever seen somebody do something completely out of character who they are? That's their alter ego. We have some fun alter egos. How many? I'm going to say that the person, their alter ego. Then you tell me who the person is. Fresh Prince. Will Smith. All right. Hannah Montana. Marky. Mark Wahlberg. Okay. Now you might not know this one. Pee Wee Herman. Paul Rubens. Okay. Now this one. How many remember Geraldine Jones? Flip Wilson. Now these were their alter egos and they made money on it. But our alter egos, we're not going to make money on that. We're going to end up in prison or something, or jail, or a broken relationship, or a marriage, or abusing somebody, or abusing ourselves. The works of the flesh are produced when the pressure points in our life begin to overload, and we fail to yield to the way of the Spirit, and we decide, someone say decide to slip back into our old fleshly habits. Think for an illustration like a tea kettle. You put the tea kettle on, and the pressure goes up, and next thing you know, and that's how we just go off, because we have not worked on that one area in our life. There's many areas in our lives we have to work on, but God commands us to work on that. You can't turn around, someone will say, well, I'm sorry, that's the Irish in me. Oh, I have an Irish. No, it's a flesh. It's my father in me. No, it's your flesh. Your flesh. Not your father's flesh. Your flesh. Not your mama. No, your flesh. You did it. You chose to do it. But listen. Here's the big thing. If you are truly born again, let me tell you something. That is not you. You got to remember, the works of the flesh is not who you really are. Right. That's your alter ego. But who you really are is a child of God. You're washed by the blood of the Lamb. Your name is written in the Lamb's book of life. So Satan, get behind me. I'm picking myself back up and moving forward. Amen. Some interesting points that you may not understand about the fruit of the Spirit or the character of Christ. The word fruit in the Greek actually means as plucked. As plucked. It means it's just there. That literally means that myself or anybody else could come up to you anytime during the day and be able to receive love from you. Self-control. Kindness. Yeah. But don't pull up in front of me when I'm driving. I'll tell you, once you make a commitment to this, the Holy Spirit's going to say, Oh, I'm so sorry, Lord. Help me, Lord. I want to follow you, Lord. Because, number one, I want to please God. And I want my answers to prayer. I want to be a vessel of honor. See, the Bible talks about Timothy about vessels of honor, shared the other day, is that there are many vessels in the house. Vessels of honor and vessels of dishonor. And most people stop there. If you read on, it says this. It says, If a man therefore purge himself from these, he shall be a vessel of honor, fit for the master's use. What are those things? You read up a little farther, is iniquity. For let all of the people who were called by my name, walk away from iniquity. Iniquity doesn't have to take much, you know what I mean? Sin is iniquity, okay? It doesn't mean you have to be a mass murderer to commit iniquity. Iniquity is just simply sin. Shake the sin out of your life. Work to carry Christ through you. So fruit in the Greek means as plucked. The fruit represent the character of Christ. The character of Christ, or the fruit of the Spirit, is the high life. Someone say high life.
High life.
It's the high life that God has called you to. There's a higher life than God. There's a higher lifestyle. I'm not talking about the rich and famous. I'm talking about character and quality of life. And then the works of the flesh are the lower life. A lot of people decide to live and they can't see any hope and they believe that's them. That's not their destiny. Sometimes they find themselves finally in prison chapel. And then they realize that, and unfortunately they have circumstances that they're there